Good evening, Cerritos residents and people in attendance. Welcome to our December meeting today. We'll go into our Pledge of Allegiance. Pat, will you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. Please rise, face the flag, put your hand over your heart, and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Be seated.
Do we have anybody doing the roll call?
Commissioner Camargo,
Here.
Commissioner De Leon, Commissioner Iglesias,
Here.
Vice Chair Patnaik,
Here.
Chair Prado.
Here. I'd like to request for Kathy De Leon to be excused.
I second it.
Presentations.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. Presentations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the commission, we do have one presentation today. This will be for the Employee of the Month for Recreation Services Division. Candidates for the Employee of the Month award are nominated by administrative staff in the Recreation Services Division. Individuals who put forth the extra effort to further enhance the division's goal of providing high-quality programs and services to the community are presented with this award. Tonight, we will recognize 2 employees for the month of October. Please come forward when you hear your names called. Felix Burkhan and Ved Shah. And if I can please have the commission meet the 2 employees on the side over here. Recreation Leader 4, Felix Burkhan, and Recreation Leader 4, Ved Shah, earned Employee of the Month for the month of October for their strong leadership in coaching Special Olympics soccer, where they created a supportive atmosphere and showed genuine care in helping athletes grow as both athletes and individuals. Over the course of the full season, from September through November, they worked with a group of 28 athletes, providing consistent guidance, encouragement, and mentorship each week. Both Felix and Ved were positive role models, demonstrating patience, enthusiasm, and a deep knowledge of the sport. Their flexibility, commitment, and athlete first mindset made a lasting impact on everyone involved. Congratulations, Felix and Ved.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Great job. Congratulations again. Congratulations again. Great.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks again.
Should we go into public comments?
Yes, that concludes our presentation portion. Thank you.
Okay, we are on item number 5, which is public comments and suggestions. Do we have anybody that would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close this.
Madam Chair, if I may, I do want to also mention that we did not receive any written correspondence by the deadline.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6, consent calendar. Six A.
Yes, if we would require a motion if we want to approve the minutes as listed there on your agendas.
Go ahead.
I move. I'd like to second the minutes as presented.
You have to vote.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Now, we are on item number 6A, right? Number 7, information on proposed water and sewer rates, the most important one tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 7A is the review and consideration of an informational presentation by the Public Works Department of the proposed water and sewer rate adjustments. Assistant Director of Public Works, Chris Kubert, will be providing this report this evening. Mr. Kubert?
Thank you, Samir. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Chris Hubert, Assistant Director of Public Works. To kick off tonight's presentation, I'll hand it over to Director Alvin Papa, who will be moving forward, and I will be providing some further information. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Hello, Commissioners. My name is Alvin Papa. I'm currently the Director of Public Works for the City of Cerritos. Today I'm going to be talking about the water and sewer rate adjustments. So this has been a very important topic, something that hasn't been done for quite a long time. The monitor is not working. So with regards to the water and sewer rate study, this is something that we do want to share with the public and entrance. It appears we have technical difficulty with the presentation. Okay. Chris will continue on and I'll continue with the intro. But this is a very important topic. Rates haven't been adjusted for a long time. Many of you are many of the residents in Cerritos have been talking about this topic. And to make sure that we keep the public informed, we've been doing a tour around the city. We've held 3 open houses where we've invited the public to come, to visit, to look at our facilities, to learn about the water and sewer infrastructure. We are currently conducting community information sessions. The last one was at the Senior Center. That was open to the public for them to come learn about the proposed water and sewer rates, and the public can ask questions. And then we're also going to every single board and commission to present the presentation that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And this is in large part because we know that this is very important. For years, residents have enjoyed very low rates, but now the rates that are being proposed, they are high, they are large, and it's frankly because we have a large need. One thing I want to start off with is back in the day, we used to have a redevelopment agency, and that redevelop agency allowed us to collect about $30 million of revenue per year from the state. But the RDA, the redevelopment agency, was dissolved back in 2012. And since then, we've never filled in that $30 million gap. We've just slowly been eroding away our general fund to pay kind of that missing fund. But since then, we're at a point where we can't do that anymore. A couple of years ago, the general fund had loaned $23 million worth of revenue to the water and sewer funds to pay for that gap that I talked about due to the loss of the $30 million. Council wrote that off back in 2023. And since then, an additional $9 million has been transferred from the general fund to the water and sewer funds to cover those deficits. So imagine a business running in the red for that amount of years. That's not a very well-run business, and that's not a good thing. And that's what our water and sewer funds are doing right now. We're operating at a level where we're spending more than the money that we're collecting, and those are the rates. The big picture with regards to what I'm going to be presenting today is that our water and sewer infrastructure in the city is about 50 to 60 years old. And much of the city was built in the 70s in a big rush. There was a boom. They built all the houses at one time. And unfortunately, all of that infrastructure is aging at the same time. And so there is a big upfront cost to upgrade all of that infrastructure because we're not doing it slowly over time. We're having to do a lot of it upfront in a short amount of time because everything's aging at the same time. Big picture, we're going to need about $81 million over the next 5 years if we don't do anything about the water and sewer rates now. If the water and sewer rates stay where they are, we're going to need $81 million of funding, and that's going to have to come from unrestricted funds, primarily the general fund. And there is a large possibility the general fund will not be able to cover that $81 million. So how will we cover the gap, right? Where will that money come from? I personally don't see a world where we don't serve water to the residents. So we're going to have to cut non-essential services. And what is that? That means the roads that you see us fixing, those won't get fixed. Potholes will develop and grow. They'll get cracked. The sidewalks that get uplifted by our pine trees, the pine tree reforestation program that we have now to remove those large overgrown pine trees that are breaking up the sidewalk, that program will probably have to go away. A lot of the facilities that we have, senior center, the pool, improvements there will probably stop happening. Park projects will probably stop getting funded. And if we've cut everything we can and we still can't make budget, there may be a situation where we're going to have to reduce public safety and reduce spending there. And I know that's something nobody wants to do. So this is me just trying to express the importance of this, that $81 million is not easy to find within a budget. And so I know that this is hard to hear. I know that the public has a hard time processing that it's coming this hard and this fast. But what Chris and I are going to present today is the reality of the situation. In this presentation, we're going to talk about two parts. One, I'm going to talk about the need of the infrastructure, the condition of our infrastructure that needs to be upgraded. And then Chris will talk about the water rates that are needed to support that infrastructure. And I know that was a long intro, but I needed to put this in a situation so that the public can begin to understand. You know, we've been doing this road show now for quite a while, and a lot of the public wasn't understanding why we needed rates. So we've made the presentation longer to talk about the condition and what the rates are going to pay for so that the residents can understand the benefits of why these rates need to be adjusted. So with that, looks like the technical difficulty is over. Slide is back up. Chris, can we go to the next slide? So up here is a map of the city. It shows our water infrastructure. The city's water infrastructure consists of 4 wells. There are 3 active wells and 1 inactive well. The 3 active wells are there in blue, and the inactive one is in red. We have booster stations that add pressure to the system, and that pressure makes it so that we can fight fires and that we can deliver water and make sure that the water service delivery is reliable. We have 3 reservoirs. They provide emergency storage. They help provide adequate fire flow, and they're there in case something happens and we need to have a temporary water supply. We have 1 import connection and 13 connections with our neighbors as emergency connections. We have 172 miles of pipe. Most of that pipe is about 50 years old, as I mentioned earlier. And you know, all this infrastructure delivers water to our 15,400 service connections that serve the city Cerritos, which is a population of about 50,000 people. Next slide, Chris. And so as I mentioned before, 70% or most of our pipelines are 50 to 60 years old, and that's about 70% of the system. It's aging and it needs to be replaced. One thing that a lot of the public doesn't know is our water division staff, we're fixing about 4 to 6 water leaks a year. Water leaks a week. And so water leaks a month. So our staff is out there digging up the street, fixing pipe that has leaks through it. And the reason it's important that I share that statistic with you is that's showing an aging system that's beginning to fall apart. The system is stressed. If in your house you had leaks in your house, you knew leaks in your system, most people wouldn't just fix the leak. They would say, hey, I need to repipe the whole house. This thing's falling apart. In the city, we're patching everywhere where the leaks are coming. And so that shows stress in our system. So we know problems are coming up. Something that also comes up quite a bit are brown water calls. Some of you may have experienced it personally, some of you may have not. But if you ever turn on your tap, brown water comes out and it looks like coffee, that's actually rust, and that's corroded water pipes. Because most of our, we have steel and ductile iron lines in our system, so those pipes in our system are getting rusted and corroded, so that's floating through the system. So that shows that we actually need to start replacing pipes and flushing out our system. Yeah. Overall, we met with our consultant, Stetson Engineers. They recommend that we replace 1 mile of pipe a year. That's about $3.3 million. In the next 5 years, they're actually recommending $17 million of pipe be replaced. That's where they see like, hey, these are important issues and you need to start taking care of this now. They also recommend about $2 to $7 million worth of cathodic protection. Sounds like a weird word. All it is, it's a protection system that protects the steel and iron pipes from corroding any further. It uses electricity and a special alloy to make sure that those pipes don't rust. But this $17 million of pipe replacement, this cathodic protection that's going to protect our pipes, I will tell you right now, we're not doing it. It's unfunded. If you look in our budget, it's on the unfunded projects list in Appendix E, because we do not have enough money to pay for it. But it's something that we do need to be doing. Next page, Chris. As I mentioned before, we have 4 wells, 3 active, 1 inactive. The importance of these wells, those are the pumps for the wells. Those pumps actually pump water that is 1,000 feet underground. That's our local groundwater supply. It's called the Central Basin. When we pump that out of the ground, we get that water for cheap. That's $454 per acre foot. So an acre foot is, if you picture a football field, 1 foot deep, that's an acre foot of water. We pay $454. That's our local groundwater supply. So it's in our best interest to continue pumping water from underground below our feet because it's the cheapest. If those wells are offline, then we have to buy imported water. So that comes from the State Water Project. And we buy that through MET, which is the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. And we actually buy it through the Central Basin Municipal Water District, who buys it from MET and sells it to us. And they charge a little fee on top. But that water comes from the State Water Project, which is a series of channels that go all the way up to Northern California, to the Bay Delta, to Mount Shasta, that brings all the water down here. That water doesn't come free, that water is expensive. And the other major portion of that water comes from the Colorado River to the east, all the way through Nevada and Arizona, and that brings that over here to California. So do you remember that number? $454 per acre foot for beneath the ground? Well, the water from the State Water Project is $1,658. Is that right? $1,698. So that's 274% higher than pumping water out of the ground. So we want to do our best to not try to have to buy the outside water. We want to use the water that we have here. I will tell you that the 3 wells we have are in serious trouble. The casing, those metal pipes that go 1,000 feet deep, they have less than 10 years of life on them. They're beginning to fall apart. So our C4 well, which is, if you look on the right side on that photo, that blue hole in the ground, that's actually where the C4 pump is supposed to be. We took it off to do some video inspection, and we're working on C4 intermittently because that metal pipe, the well that's in the ground, there's a hole in the casing. And what we're finding in our water supply is we're pulling up sand and we're pulling up gravel, and that's damaging our pumping system. So we're having to turn it off. So we're not buying the cheap groundwater now at well 4. We're having to purchase some of that import water. We can intermittently use it and run it slowly. And if you picture like sucking through a straw, with a cup full of sand, you can suck it slowly and get clean water out. But if you suck too fast, you're going to suck up sand. So we're running the well slowly, intermittently, and we can still get some of that cheap water. But we have to let the well rest, let the sand settle, and then we're buying that expensive import water. So we know that there's a problem, and that's our biggest producer. All our wells, they all have arsenic problems. They all have manganese issues. So there's something called maximum contaminant levels. There are state regulatory limits. They're saying, okay, if you've got water and there's pollutants in your water, you can have up to this much. We're at least about half to most of them. So those numbers are rising. Arsenic and manganese is safe to a certain limit, but once there's too much of it in the water, you could start experiencing kidney problems, liver problems, increased risk of cancer, and other health issues. One of our wells has constituents of concern. So there are emerging constituents and pollutants that we have to look at. And one of our other wells, we were having to deal with industrial solvents that are found. They're currently still below the regulatory limits. We are watching and monitoring all these pollutants at our wells, but we know we have to build treatment. And so we have to build treatment at each one of our wells. We have to rebuild those pipes that go 1,000 feet deep in the ground. We need to build new ones because they're going to be done in 10 years. And 10 years sounds like a long time, but to design a well takes about a year to 2 years. To build it takes about another 2 years. And you need another year just to do bidding, administration, and just testing. It's a 5-year process from when we have the money to get the well up and running. So time is running out. Overall, each well is probably going to cost $12 to $15 million to build. So we need roughly $50 to $60 million to rebuild our wells. Out of all those 4 wells, we only have one project funded in our CIP to build. Next slide.
Should we defer our questions towards the end, or should we kind of?
Yes, that would be preferred, Commissioner. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and Chris and I would love to answer all of your questions and definitely welcome them. And thank you for waiting till the end to ask those questions. We do have 3 reservoirs. All the reservoirs are 50 years old. They provide us the emergency storage. Each one of our reservoirs, they have cracks. Some of them have cracks in the floor. Some have cracks in the roof. One of our reservoirs, it's the one on Reservoir Hill, that has cracks in its reservoir wall. Ultimately, we need to patch these cracks and prevent them from leaking. The reservoirs, as they get older, will crack. But if we don't patch them, they will leak. And if we don't patch them in time, they may blow out. We're at a point in time where we do have the opportunity to repair them if they do get funded. But currently, those repairs are not funded in our CIP. We also have 2 booster stations. We need to replace their pumps and we need to replace their VFDs. So there are a series of pumps at our booster stations. Particularly our C4 booster station has 6 pumps in there 2 of them are already beyond their design life. That means they are at the end of their useful life. They're going to break anytime soon. We actually already had one pump that was replaced because it broke, and we repaired it on an emergency fix. And the VFDs, all of the VFDs need to be repaired. Those are called variable frequency drives. So pumps, when they typically only operate at 1 speed. Variable frequency drives, they modulate the amount of power that goes to the pump, so they can make the pump run faster or slower for efficiency. This helps save the city money, and it saves the wear and tear on the pump. But to do all the pump work and to replace all the VFDs is about $550,000 to $600,000. Currently, those repairs are not funded, and they're not part of the CIP at the moment. Next slide, please. We have several thousand water valves. The water valves are aged. They're getting rusted and corroded. I do want to note one, if you guys recall in May on Bloomfield and South Street, the street was closed for quite a long time. That's because we had a water leak in the middle of the intersection in our 24-inch pipe. And so typically when you fix a water leak to prevent water outages to the community or minimize the outage, you go to what's called an isolation valve and you turn it. Our crew went out there to turn the valve and the handle popped off. Why did it do that? It was rusted, corroded, should have been replaced. We don't have a valve replacement program. We do now. Our the recommended valve replacement program by the consultants is $750,000. Our CIP, we partially funded at $150,000. So it's not fully funded when it should be, because these are important because they isolate issues so that we can perform repairs. That emergency repair on South Street cost us over $200,000. But we estimate, had this been a standard routine fix, we could have done it for around $50,000. So we paid 4 times the cost to do it on an emergency repair. And then our water meters. We have about 15,400 water meters in the city. They are all manually read. So we have a meter reader that goes and reads these water meters. In modern times, what people do is they have what's called automated meter infrastructure. So on your water meter, there's a little cellular piece of equipment. It just beams straight up to the sky. It either goes to a satellite or it goes to the cellular modem. And then you should be able to see, you should be able to log into the system and you can see the amount of your water you're using real time. City staff doesn't have to get in a truck and drive to every single water meter. They can see it. And if you have a water leak at your house, it'll flag it and you'll know. We would love to have that technology. Unfortunately, it's $14 million to deploy. That project is not funded, but it's something that we should have. I see we're having technological issues. I will continue on. I'll talk a little bit about the sewer system. We have 146 miles of pipe, over 3,000 manholes, and 6 pump stations. In general, the sewer system is also 50 to 60 years old. The majority of our sewers are made of vitrified clay pipe. So clay pipe is inert. Basically, it means that it doesn't react with much chemicals, so it's stable. These pipes can last 100 years. But we do have portions of our pipe that are steel and iron, but those pipes only last about 40 to 50 years. With regards to our sewer infrastructure and the sewer infrastructure need, we have 6 pump stations that lift sewage and pump it. All 12 pumps for those 6 sewer pump stations need to be replaced. As you've heard, there is no funding. There's nothing in the CIP, and we can't pay for it. But it's something we need to do. We also have a number of small sewer pipes where the amount of sewage flowing in them is too much for the size of the pipe. Those pipes need to be upsized. We don't have funding to do those projects either. And I'll talk about two best management practices. One is called CCTV, which is closed circuit television, where we take a camera and we run it through the inside of the pipe so we can see what's wrong with the pipe. We should be doing that every 5 years, because that will tell us where the cracks in the pipe are, where the grease is building up. A lot of times in pipe, we have calcium that builds up. You ever see that white crusty stuff? Well, that stuff builds up inside of sewer pipes and starts making the hole smaller and smaller. And that tends to cause sewer spills if it's not, if it's not cleaned out and scraped out. I'll tell you, in November on Studebaker Road at College Place, you would have noticed that we closed off some of the lanes and there was a big vacuum truck. That's because we were cleaning up a sewer spill. Normally we don't make these things public, but there was a sewer manhole and there was a bunch of sewage that was flowing in the street into the gutter, into the catch basin, and that stuff flowed into the storm drain, which leads to the ocean. So that kind of, we recovered over 250 gallons of sewage after staff had responded on site. They sandbagged it and our emergency contractor cleaned it up. But that's categorized as a Category 1 sanitary sewer overflow. It's actually the highest category. That's because wastewater made it all the way to receiving waters. It's a very serious issue because it affects public health. So why do I mention this? It's because we know our system has issues, and the pipe inspection that I mentioned earlier would have helped us see this ahead of time. We could have cleaned it. We could have fixed it. And something we should also be doing is lining our pipe. As I mentioned, this clay pipe that the city of Cerritos mostly has for its sewer, that pipe can last 100 years. And we can support that by putting what's called relining. If you picture a sock that you put inside the pipe and you blow it up with steam and it gets hard, that's what relining is. It's an epoxy resin sock. They dip it in epoxy, they pull it through the pipe and they blow it up with steam. And when it cools, it gets hard and it's like a new pipe. You don't have to dig up the street. You don't have to move traffic. You just have to open up the 2 manholes and put the pipe through and steam it up. And that's very cheap to do. You can actually install that for pennies on the dollar compared to open trenching new pipe. We don't have that funded or budgeting, but that's something that we should do. Because otherwise, if we're having to address broken sewer pipe and dig up the street, we're going to probably spend 10 times more than we would by lining pipe. Yeah, and so that concludes the infrastructure portion. The recurring theme is there's a lot to fix, it's all breaking down, and there is no funding available to fund most of these projects. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and he's going to start talking about the proposed water and sewer rate adjustments.
Thank you, Alvin. Good evening, commissioners, from this side of the room now. I'm here to talk about rate history, fiscal support, and the future. Water and sewer rates have stayed the same since July 2021. Before that, city raised rates 10% from 2014 to 2021, but those rate adjustments excluded capital improvement project needs. To keep service levels steady, the city depended on strong general fund support. In October 2023, the city wrote off $24.3 million in general fund loans to the water and sewer funds. Since then, the general fund has continued to cover costs to the water and sewer funds, which cannot be supported. By the end of the fiscal year, we expect another $9 million in general funds to be transferred to the water and sewer funds. This support has kept rates artificially low and cannot continue. It is not a long-term it's not stable long-term goal for the city. The original plan included reclaimed water, but due to an emergency project, the city is currently negotiating with LA County Sanitation District to handle this. The goal of the rate study is to develop a 5-year rate plan that allows water and sewer funds to stand on their own without ongoing help from the general fund. To do this, staff hired WRE, otherwise known as Water Resources Economics, in February 2025 to complete the study. The original plan covered reclaimed water, which was already discussed. This slide identifies the 5-year proposed capital improvement project plan. The total cost is about $23 million, or $25.3 million after a 4% inflation. We initially proposed $43 million in projects, but reduced the plan to minimize rate impact on the residents. We did that by focusing only on critical and essential projects to ensure we could serve safe, reliable water. The main focus on this program is building and upgrading our wells, as Alvin mentioned earlier. The first project is C4 well, which includes a new well and treatment system at the cost of approximately $16 million. Once C4 is near completion, we plan to finish design and start construction of the C5 well near the end of the cycle in fiscal year 29-30. These investments ensure reliable and sustainable water supply for the community. This slide outlines the general fund support to water, which Alvin discussed earlier. Under the status quo in red, where rates stay the same, the water fund would need approximately $69 million from the general fund over the next 5 years. This amount is more than the city's projected general fund reserves and is not a stable path forward. The proposed rates in blue would lower the general fund support and help phase out over the 4 years. Under this plan, general fund would provide approximately $9.5 million in total support, and the water and sewer fund would be fully self-sufficient by July 1, 2029. This comparison shows why a new rate structure is important. Water rates need to pay for daily operations and system upgrades. Nearly all water agencies follow this method to stay stable, reduce the use of general fund, and keep their water systems reliable. This approach supports the policy direction set by City Council. This slide shows the proposed 5-year water rate plan. It was built to meet Proposition 218 rules and standard industry practices. Staff reviewed future revenue costs and needed system upgrades to make sure the water fund reaches its minimum reserve levels by the end of the 5-year period. This plan includes yearly changes to both fixed meter charge and the rate for water use. These changes would start in February 2026. Fixed meter charges were updated based on meter size to improve fairness and match the American Water Works Association guidance. The plan also removes the minimum water unit, so every gallon that is used is billed based on actual usage. These updates improve equity across customers and set rates that better match the real costs to provide services. Looking at the residential comparison of our water bills, this slide compares our average home water bill to nearby cities. Our current rate is in yellow, and the proposed rate is in green. Even with proposed changes, Cerritos will stay among the most affordable agencies in the area. The average bill for a single-family home will remain lower than many nearby systems. On the commercial side, the story is the same. Even with the proposed changes, Cerritos will remain very competitive. The average bill for a typical commercial customer will stay within the range of nearby agencies. Now we'll move on to the sewer fund. This slide shows how much general fund support the sewer fund needs under current conditions in red. Like water fund, the sewer fund has relied heavily on general fund transfers. Under the status quo or do nothing scenario, it would need $12.1 million over the next 5 years. With the proposed sewer rates in blue, general fund support would be phased out over the next 5 years. Total transfers would be limited to $3.6 million, and the sewer fund will be fully self-sufficient by July 2029. As with the water fund, the sewer fund should operate independently with rates covering all costs. This approach is standard in the industry, keeps the system stable, protects the general fund, and ensures long-term stability. Looking at this 5-year CIP for sewer, this slide shows the sewer program over the next 5 years. The total cost is about $3.9 million, or $4.3 million after a 4% annual inflation. Like the water fund, we focused only on the critical projects. Of this total, the main focus is $1.2 million in CCTV inspection of the sewer system, followed by $2.4 million for sewer pipe replacement. These projects ensure the reliability and long-term safety of our sewer system. Moving on to the rates. On this slide, you can see the proposed 5-year sewer rate plan built to follow Proposition 218 and industry standards. The plan starts with a larger increase in year 1, then smaller steady increases in the following years. These rates will fund about $3.9 million in critical system upgrades and gradually end general fund support. So, how do we compare to other cities? Even with the proposed changes, Cerritos stays below the regional average. The yellow is our current rate, with the green being the proposed rate. This shows the city's commitment to keeping rates affordable while moving towards self-sustaining utility. Moving on to discuss our proposed low-income assistance program. In response to City Council direction, staff is proposing a water and sewer assistance program similar to SCE's CARE program, which gives income-qualified households a 32.5% discount. Eligibility is based on household size and income levels set by the CPUC. As of October 2025, over 2,200 Cerritos households are enrolled in CARE, and staff estimates about 23 households could qualify for budgeting purposes. Instead of a percentage discount, the program would provide a fixed bi-monthly discount of $40. This helps control costs and keeps budget stable. Staff will return to City Council with more details at the public hearing on January 26, 2026. Now we'll discuss information on the Prop 218 notice that was recently sent out. In line with Proposition 218, on November 13th, 2025, all property owners and water and sewer customers were sent a notice of public hearing for January 26, 2026. The notice included the amount of the proposed rate changes, how the rates were calculated, the reasons for the changes, instructions for submitting a written proposal, and the date and time of the hearing. All written protests must be submitted in person or mailed to the city clerk no later than 5 p.m. on Monday, January 26, 2026, or received by the city clerk on January 26, 2026, before the close of the public hearing. Ends that day. Now I'll pass it back to Alvin to discuss the next steps and milestones.
Thank you, Chris. On the slide above, you see a calendar of the next steps and the key milestones in the rate adoption process. There is a public hearing scheduled for January 26, when the City Council is going to formally consider the proposed water and sewer rate adjustments. We do have community sessions for the public to come and to come learn more about the water and sewer rates. We'll be giving a presentation similar to what we're doing today, and we'll open the floor for public questioning and help answer their questions, help them understand the rates, and hopefully we can help them understand why we have to do this. We understand this is hard, This is a hard decision. There's a lot of people saying that, hey, this is a lot of money, and it's true. But what is the alternative? It's either we fix these wells and fix these pipes and make sure our sewers are in good condition, or we're dealing with sewer spills and water failures and the loss of water. Imagine, waking up in the morning, trying to take a shower and nothing's coming out. That's a hard world for a lot of people to imagine. And we know we have to serve people water. So the other alternative is reduction in city services. So as I mentioned, less money in roadways, less money in taking care of trees, taking care of parks. Picture playgrounds being in disrepair, going to the senior center and all the programs are cut, classes getting cut, the pool just not being serviced. There's a lot of events that may get cut. That's the alternative. We're going to have to find $81 million worth of cuts in 5 years to take care of our utility system. And so this is hard. This is a hard decision. But I'm glad that this is being brought to the forefront and it's being discussed. I've been with the city for a year now. I will tell you, when I got here and I looked at the funding and I looked at the finances, it is unheard of for a general fund ever to pay for a water fund. It's usually the other way around. The cities are looking at the water and sewer funds as kind of their golden goose, where they can try to see how can the water and sewer funds help the city, where they see if there's ways that they can partner on things. But in this situation, I've never seen this in my career. And water and sewer fund enterprises should run like a business, and they should be self-supporting. And they are essential services, and we need to ensure that they're fully funded. And so with that, that concludes our presentation. Chris and Hai are here to answer any questions, and we welcome all and every question by the commission and by members of the public. Thank you.
Alvin, thank you and Chris, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. Do we have any questions from our commission?
Can I please?
Yes.
Thank you, Alvin and Chris. In my previous life, I was in the pipe, valve, and fitting business. Now, you mentioned that as far as the pipes are concerned, $81 million per year translates to about 16 million a year, right? And you also mentioned to change the pipes, we have to spend about $17 million. Now, does that include all the valving also? All the pumping units, motors, pumps?
Yeah, so with regards to the pipe replacement, that is just replacing the pipe and the valves along that section of pipe. It also includes all the trenching work, the roadway restoration work, and everything associated with putting forward a complete construction project to repair 1 mile of pipe a year.
Have you also considered, there are a lot of the valve repair shops, like one of them is Clay Valve. They are somewhere in Orange County. There is a certain cutoff, like certain size and certain rating of the valve. It becomes cost effective to send these valves out to get it repaired. So what essentially it'll mean, I'm not talking about the pipes, of course. I'm only talking about the valves. And, Clay Valve is one of them. Have you all considered that, where you send those valves to this shop, reconditioning shop? It's a very cost-effective solution. You save almost like 50% of a new valve. I don't know what your consultants have come up with.
Yes, thank you for the suggestion. I know our staff is looking at all ways that we can save money. I think the biggest challenge is that the program is just severely underfunded, and the number of valves that we need to replace and the quantity is just not funded to the level that we need it. But we'll certainly take a look at your suggestion and looking to refurbish some of our valves where feasible. But I think, much of the valves we're talking about, and our focus would be the valves kind of within the main lines on our arterial streets, where we can have major isolation. A lot of them they've been in the ground for 50 years, and much of them we can't save.
Yeah, there's, companies like Dresser, Ingersoll Dresser, there's FlowServe. There are a lot of shops around the area. I mean, I can come and talk to you, Alvin, if you wish. But I think you should consider, and you will see that there would be a drastic reduction in your cost, in your, as far as the valving PVF is concerned. Now, the lining and all that, of course, it's because of the silica content, you have to do the lining. I get that. But I'm sure you'll save a lot of money by looking into the aspect of reconditioning some of these valves.
We appreciate the suggestion, Commissioner. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I do have a question. Do you ever consider any other alternative besides raising the water rates of the homeowners?
I mean, there are other options, but I don't think none of them is feasible as increasing the water rates. Some cities will bond, but if you do bond, you're paying for the bond. Let me quote this by saying I am not the financial expert, but bonding, while it may or may not help, but usually it's kind of a wash, because you need the revenue to pay back the bond, and then you're also paying a bunch of interest on it. So bonds could help, they could not, but in this case, we didn't look at bond. Cerritos historically pays for their CIP in cash, so we've been following kind of the tradition of Cerritos. There's also something called enhanced infrastructure financing districts, where sometimes they take, you take your assessed property tax value, and they take your future property tax revenues, and you can bond against that for when you have very large special districts. So that's something that could potentially be looked at, but it's very complicated. You're working with now taxes on your property, and I think it's just much more complicated, and there's no guarantee, and it's something that's fairly new and could get very messy and may not achieve what we need to do. But thank you for the question.
Anybody else? So when do you think the rates would go up, and by how much?
So if this public hearing, if rates were approved at the public hearing, then the rates would become effective starting February 1st.
So what happens if it gets defeated at the public hearing? Then we will still continue to have the lingering problems. So how are we going to solve that?
Then, does Chris want to tackle this? I'll give Chris a chance.
I know.
Thank you for the question. If the public hearing is defeated and rates don't get raised, we're kicking the can down the curb. The next time that this item were to come forward, the rates would be even higher. The impact would be more severe to residents, and the cost is going to be significantly higher. At this point, we've reduced the CIP in half from the original $43 million to $23 million to only focus on the critical projects to keep the water system operating and serving safe, clean water. Whenever the city were to decide to come back with a new rate hearing, those costs are going up. So what you're looking at and what we presented tonight would be significantly higher and not generally palatable.
Yeah, and thank you, Chris. And I can add to that a little bit. If you could go back to if we don't have the list of projects, several of the key projects that we showed earlier would not get built. So rehabilitation of those wells would not get rehabilitated. So within 10 years, those wells will have issues and would either be shut down. So the city would have to pay for the amount of water that we buy. I talked about pumping the local groundwater from underneath, we would be having to pay triple the cost of water. And the city would be paying that cost. And that water needs to be bought somehow. And that's where city council is going to have the hard decision on balancing the budget. So if these rates don't get passed, we're going to have to figure out how to pay for it. So, as I mentioned earlier, no roadway projects, so the roads won't get fixed, sidewalks won't get fixed. I would say the trees would stop getting maintained. I'd say the parks would probably be next. Looking at social service or the services, so probably senior center programs and I don't know, events, probably stop taking care of a lot of the buildings and facilities. I don't know, the Civic Center, if you guys were here 2 summers ago, the air conditioning went out during the summer. Everybody was feeling it. City Hall employees were going home. That air conditioner system is about done. It's probably not going to get fixed because we're going to have to table those projects. So a lot of the general funded amenities that Cerritos enjoys would probably go away. The community and the cuts would probably have to be deeper than that. The Southwest Patrol, we probably wouldn't afford that contract, and we may have to look to cut in other places as well. It's a lot of funding to pay for these wells and to pay for the water that we would need to pay. The budget would have to be balanced somehow.
I wish there is some deep dive study done. Take the example of Hyperion water treatment plant. It's near LAX. LA City had the same problem. You know what they did? Hyperion treatment plant, these are big digesters there. And all that water that goes back, they get cleansed. And that water is pretty much as good as drinking water, but they use it for all the public parks and amenities. Maybe you should consider something like that. Here, have a digester. It'll be very cost effective. And the water that is cleansed by the digester can be used to water all the 26 parks we have and all the public facilities and continue having clean water to the residents. I think, somehow these consultants have to think beyond the box and come up with ways and means to see how that $81 million is reduced considerably.
Yeah, thank you for the comment, Commissioner. I do want to share that that recycled water treatment you talk about, we do have that to a large degree here in Cerritos. So all the sewage that we collect goes in our sewers, and we send it to the Los Angeles County sanitation districts. So they have large trunk sewers underneath that bring it to the Los Coyotes water reclamation plant over by the Ironwood 9 golf course. So, back in, I think it was like 1977, I think is when the contract was done. Don't quote me on that, as back then. But we signed an agreement with the Los Angeles sanitation districts where we built a distribution plant over there, and we get a portion of that treated water that you're talking about that they treat, and we use that to sell recycled water through the city, and that's at a very reduced rate compared to our water rates. And so that helps offset our potable water use and our potable water costs, so that we use that on landscape medians and parkways, and we sell some to the city of Lakewood and to Forest Lawn.
Questions? I'd like to say, I know it's going to be hard for the people here in Cerritos. We have a lot of seniors, they're on fixed income, and that's what makes it hard for them to sit there and swallow this down. But they keep going to the meetings. I went to the first one you had over there at the sheriff's station. So I've already heard it, I saw it, and I know it needs to be done because we need the water. But at the same time, you know, you've got to be conscientious of the residents that we have, that they're on a fixed income. They're on Social Security, they're on, you know, Medicare, and it's hard to sit there and stomach that's what I hear anyway. Excuse me.
A senior is calling you, I think. The other thing we have also heard is some of the small business owners, the impact to them because of the water bill delta would be like $6,000 a year. $6,000 a year. And these are small business owners. How are you going to mitigate their feelings?
Yeah, I think so. I've heard that number. I heard that number earlier today. I haven't looked into it, but really, it's like the water use. One thing that needs to be that we haven't talked about yet is, as part of this whole effort, that this came up during the Let Freedom Ring Committee, is the calculations that people are calculating is if their water use remains the same. I think Cerritos has enjoyed very, very low water rates for a very long time. So there hasn't been much of an incentive to optimize irrigation on their landscaping, reducing water use, getting water efficient toilets, getting water efficient appliances, even just as much as turning the tap off as you brush your teeth. I'm sure we all know those relatives that as they're brushing their teeth, you hear a psh, and they're just there for 2 or 3 minutes while the water's going. There's a lot of behavior change that can and will happen. So, you know, a lot of these estimates and numbers that are flying around, there is also going to be water changes. I think for these small business owners, you know, there's opportunities where we can look for, you know, water efficiency grants where there could be potential benefits to business owners or water savings programs. You know, I know that Met has, there were times where they had credits or rebates for swapping out turf for water efficient landscaping. You could swap for water efficient irrigation heads or appliances. So, you know, as part of the Let Freedom Ring Committee, that was one of the suggestions that we do a water conservation and efficiency campaign to help people optimize their water bills. And that's, I'm sure we can find a lot of savings there to get the bills down even lower.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. Oh, okay.
I do, excuse me, have a question. Will it come to a point where the city might mandate the homeowners to change their grass to artificial turf?
I haven't heard that, and I don't know, sir. So but I have not heard that mandate.
Okay, we'll close with you and any public comments.
I'm Kees Vanderlinden, been living in this city since 1971 in the same location. I've seen it all. All what I can say, I hear a lot of doomsday predictions, and I wish one thing, that the city maintains the stuff that they did 20 years ago, such as flushing the sewer systems. It's not happening anymore. It used to happen on a regular basis, because I've seen them. Same thing with flushing our lines. It's not happening. I don't know how many times I have brought up over here about the water situation. It was always downplayed. We should have, a long time ago, already had a secondary water supply for all the outsources, irrigation of the plants, and have a primary for strictly house use. All over in Europe, it is in place. But no, when I brought it up, it was cheaper to filter the front end. It's not cheaper. What happened to all this maintenance that was neglected over all these last 54 years? because that's as long as I've been here. I'm a retired electrical engineer, okay? I've met with this gentleman. I tell you, they're trying to put this increase under the rug. The fact that you, Ms. Pedro, did not know what the rates was going to be because you asked the question, it's because they're hiding it. This thing that came out, it's been hidden. Most people didn't even know that this is happening. There's a big campaign to make the residents aware of this situation. This is so backwards, and it points out again that we have very poor management in our city. The follow-up on the 54 years I've been here is atrocious. I can pull emails and emails out of issues that I have brought up that have still never been addressed. Anywhere, from the trees, from the trees that grew too big because they are not properly pruned, supposedly every 3-4 years. It was years that went by. Those trees just grew larger and larger. The sidewalks. Take a look what we're spending on maintaining our fairways. They spent millions of dollars to do the fairways and make it pretty. And then it's not being maintained. Within 5 years, it looked like it was never done because it's not maintained. Whoever the people are that are supposed to maintain it are not being supervised. That is the lack in the city. There's no supervision. If they're talking about all this maintenance that should be done, that should have been done in the last 50 years. Where have you guys been? Everybody's still playing school, relying on someone else. We're supposed to have the leaders over here. Same thing with our city managers. I can go on, I can write a book about it. But this is the cheapest way to try to get the funds. Go get rid of this performing arts building that costs you billions of dollars every year. Talk about that. We bring it up over and over. But no, that gets sidestepped because that's a special thing for certain people only. So we're bringing up the other services that we're going to cut. Cut that piece out. You save yourself a few $1 million a year. Have you guys looked at that? I doubt that because it's only been brought up umpteen times.
Mr. Vanderlyn, thank you for speaking. I have to
Thank you.
cut you off now. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Anybody else? Okay, so this will come to a close.
Madam Chair, if I may, we do want to have a motion to receive and file this report.
I will make the motion to receive and file.
I second.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, so we are on 7B. Mr. Patel, do we have anything else?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So item 7B is the review and consideration of an informational review of the 2025 Halloween Festival. And I will be providing the specifics of this report. If I may direct your attention to the screens for a short PowerPoint presentation. This presentation will provide an informational review of the city's annual Halloween Festival that was held on Friday, October 31st, from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Los Cerritos Center. The Los Cerritos Center continues to host the event, and the city is thankful for its mutual beneficial partnership. The festival was held in the parking lot west of the mall's dining court entrance, The location provided an ideal location to host all of the event's attractions while also providing ample parking for attendees. 6 carnival-style rides were the featured attraction at the event and were enjoyed by children of all ages. Unlimited ride wristbands were available for $10 and allowed participants to ride as many times as they wanted without the need to buy individual tickets. This was a low-cost, high-reward attraction for the families, as you can see here in the photos, and they were well received from the public. The Billy Bonkers Magic and Comedy Show was the featured entertainment on the stage. His entertaining performance was conducted several times throughout the night, so patrons could enjoy the show while also being able to partake in other parts of the festival. Costume parades and the family photo area were also popular throughout the night. Kids were invited on stage to show off their costumes and play games. In addition, each child was asked to talk about their costume, and parents had the opportunity to take a photo of their child while on stage. And here we can see 2 separate groups of children kind of showing off their festive costumes, and we can see here that the Pokemon character was having a very good time here. Game booths were hosted by community organizations and recreation services volunteers. All games were free of charge, and participants received candy and treats as prizes, and everyone was a winner this evening. A craft area was also available and free of charge. Participants created their own spooky spider that they could take home and share with their family. Here you can see that the craft area was a very popular attraction, and we did go through all of our supplies, so we're happy about that turnout. Local food trucks were also on hand and offered snacks and dinner options, such as tacos, hamburgers, and shave ice. The event concluded at 9 p.m., and it is estimated that 4,500 people attended the festival. The event was well received and continues to be a popular destination for families to celebrate Halloween. It is recommended that the Commission review the information provided in this report, receive public comments, and receive and file this report. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your presentation, Samir. I was there. It is well run. People did have a good time. I had a good time taking pictures of the kids there. You guys saw me. And it's well run and people like it. Like I said before, I had been one of those that was very dubious of whether it should be there or not. But after talking to quite a few parents, they felt it's safer than being at the park. So I think it's a great addition that you guys did by putting it there. Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, I think it was a great event, good turnout, and very well spaced. I was looking for you, Madam Chair.
I know.
I didn't find you there. No, but it was a great event. I really enjoyed it. And I think all the food truck guys, they all made money. So that's a good news. But thank you, staff, for putting a fantastic program together that night.
I too, my wife and I were there, and we really enjoyed it. It was towards the end, but we really enjoyed being there. And I think it was a very good move from the city to move it from the Duncan Abbey Park to where it is now. Thank you.
Who wants to sit there and accept and file?
I'd like to move a motion to accept
Second.
as presented.
If I may, we do want to at least open the public comment section, and if there are none, we can.
Okay, I'll see who's out there.
Don't say that.
Any public comments? Okay, seeing none. Okay,
We can follow through with the motion, yes.
Yep, I'd like to make a motion to accept and file as presented.
I believe voting has been activated on your screens.
okay.
A second.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay. Reports from designated commission staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Recreation Services Administrator Joel Toto will be providing an update on upcoming recreation services programs and events, followed by Community Services Supervisor Jesse Savala, who will report on senior center programs. Ms. Tota?
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Chairperson Prado, members of the commission. The Recreation Services Division has planned several holiday programs for families in Cerritos to enjoy during the month of December. A special email address has been set up so children up to age 11 can send their holiday wishes to Santa until Friday, December 12th. The link to Santa can be found on the city's homepage at cerritos.gov. Santa is coming to Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts on Saturday, December 6th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Families are invited to enjoy an afternoon filled with magic. Activities will include crafts, games, live entertainment, a photo opportunity with Santa. Light snacks and hot cocoa will be served while supplies last. The event is free, and remember to bring your camera. On Saturday, December 13th, 4 to 5-year-olds can participate in the Itsy Bitsy Golf Clinic at the Cerritos Ironwood 9 Golf Course. Preschool golfers can learn a brief introduction on grip, stance, swing, and putting. The cost is $15 for residents and $23 for non-residents. A workshop for teens developing social skills will be offered at Heritage Park on Saturday, December 13th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This workshop is free and will help teens develop social skills such as making eye contact, how to start a conversation, and how to empathize with their peers. Space is limited, so pre-registration is recommended. Please note, special holiday hours will be in effect at all recreation facilities. On Christmas Eve, Wednesday, December 24th, the golf course will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. All other park facilities will be closed. On Christmas Day, Thursday, December 25th, all city and park facilities will also be closed. On New Year's Eve, Wednesday, December 31st, the golf course will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Cerritos Swim Center will be open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., and all park facilities will be closed. On New Year's Day, Thursday, January 1st, 2026, all city and park facilities will be closed. Beginning Monday, January 5th, Heritage Park will host Parent-Child Storytime Fun, programmed from 10:15 to 11:15 a.m. This 5-week class for children 2 to 4 years old will allow participants to listen to a story and then create a craft that relates to the storyline. The activities are designed to stimulate each child's imagination and inspire creativity. The cost is $23 for residents and $35 for non-residents. Whether you're a seasoned player or brand new to the game, there's a spot for you to register for the Community Open 2-person best ball tournament on Saturday, January 10th at the Cerritos Ironwood 9 Golf Course. This 18-hole shotgun start tournament begins at 7:30 a.m. and includes complimentary driving range use, lunch, and awards. Tournament fee is $50 per person. Join the Pickleball Round Robin Social at Liberty Park on Thursday, January 15th from 10 a.m. to noon. Participants age 18 and older will play 3 30-minute matches in round robin format. Prizes will be awarded for first and second place. The cost is $5 per person. Cerritos Park East will host Half Pints Night themed Let It Snow on Friday, January 16th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Activities will include games, crafts, and stories, and children's ages 3 to 5 are eligible for registration. Registration fee is $10. Register for community CPR and first aid basics taking place on Saturday, January 24th at Cerritos Park East from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Learn methods for basic first aid and performing infant, child, and adult CPR. The registration fee is $32 plus a $25 materials fee. For more information on the city's parks and recreation programs, please contact the Recreation Services Division at 562-916-1254. That concludes my report. My colleagues and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jill, for your presentation. I did take a look on the website on all the things that we offer, And I was pleasantly surprised. You know, when you don't have kids that age, you don't normally sit there and look at it that much. But I was really happy to see how much we got compared to other cities, too. It's good that we have just as much. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, Jill. I just missed the one where Santa will be there. Will he be there at the CCPA? Oh, you got a flyer. Thank you, madam. Oh, this Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's
Thank
t-
you. I got it. Thank you.
That's taking the place of
Yeah.
the traveling Santa.
Oh, okay.
Jesse.
Thank you. Chair is a member of the commission. I'm going to present on the Cerritos Senior Center, a few updates and programming that will be taking place during the month of December, and a little bit on what's going on in January. So first off, our next excursion will take us to the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles on January 6th. We'll be exploring from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. The cost is $35 a ticket. Resident signups is currently ongoing, and non-residents may begin to sign up on Monday, December 8th. A few events that will be coming up. A Storybook Christmas, our annual senior luncheon dance, will take place tomorrow, December 5th. This event is sold out. We're looking forward to hosting a great time for our seniors. It will consist of food and entertainment and a great time with fellow friends. Movie Matinee Marathon will take place on Friday, December 19th, beginning at 10 a.m. The movies played will be A Storytime Christmas and The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. There will be a short break in between movies to get some lunch. Chorus Holiday Concert will take place on Friday, December 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. This is free. We invite our senior community to join us for an afternoon of music, and where we ask everyone to wear your most festive sweater to get in the holiday spirit. Light refreshments will be served following the concert. On Tuesday, December 9th at 10 a.m., we have How to Reach Your Exercise. This class will be held via Zoom. A representative from Independence at Home will present on how to learn how to set goals and get started today. This is a free class. Senior Tech Workshop will take place on are taking place every Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. This is the drop-in and free class. Students from the Technior Club at Whitney High School branch will be available. We ask those who have questions to please bring your own tech devices. Holidays can be challenging for some seniors who have suffered losses or who are feeling alone and without family or social support. We have a representative from Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health to discuss strategies on how to combat feelings of sadness or the blues. This will take place on December 15th at 9 a.m. and it's free drop-in class. If you can't make that, the following day, Tuesday, December 16th at 2 p.m., we'll have a representative from Independence at Home speaking on the same topic. The class will be called Beating the Holiday Blues. Just a reminder to the community that we have Care Management sponsored by our Human Services Association on Wednesdays from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. If interested and you'd like to make an appointment, you could give us a call at the Cerritos Senior Center at 562-916-8550. And this is only open to Cerritos residents only. And they offer resources for homebound, in-home care, home-delivered meals, in-home support services. For more information on our classes and programs that we offer at the Cerritos Senior Center, please visit cerritos.gov and click on Senior Services located in the middle of the page, and then click on Lifelong Enrichment on the right side of the page. You may view this on your laptop or cellular device. You may also call us at the Cerritos Senior Center, and we'll be happy to help you at 562-916-8550. Our holiday donations we are still accepting holiday donations. New unwrapped toys for the U.S. Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. Toys can be dropped off at either City Hall, Cerritos Library, Cerritos Senior Center, Liberty Park, or Cerritos Park East until Friday, December 12th. For additional information, please call Community Services Division at 8101. I'd like to remind the community that we have a few upcoming closures. We'll be closed on Wednesday, December 24th, Thursday, December 25th, and Thursday, January 1st. This concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jesse, for your presentation. Any questions? I'd like to say I did go to your Halloween party that you guys had. It was really good. We had quite a bit of people there. The DJ was very good, one of the best that you've had in a bit. And are you still accepting donations for the Salvation Army tree that you guys had?
That ends tomorrow. I didn't include in my report just in case it's short of a notice. So I did want to highlight the Toy for Tots since we have another week to accept toys.
Okay, so you're not accepting any more for the Salvation? Because I thought that was also December 12th.
It is actually December 5th, tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, it'll be the last time to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
But if interested, feel free to give us a call and we can work something out to make sure get toys to those individuals.
Okay, that sounds good. And see you tomorrow at the party.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that will conclude 8A. Now, do the commissioner, any questions? No questions? Okay, so this will close 8A. Any reports on anything that? Well, I'll do 8A. I'll start with myself. I did attend the Veterans Memorial was done very well. And I do want to say that while I was there on Wednesday, I want to tell you, in case you didn't hear, there was some lady that saw me standing behind, signing in. She wanted to be sure that I knew that the staff at the senior center is the best that she's gone, and she's gone through a lot. And also she loved the way everything was decorated. She wanted everybody the staff to know how happy she was just to be there compared to the other senior centers that she attends. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that compliment. I'll pass it on to our staff.
Anything else?
Yeah, I did attend the Christmas tree lighting and saw the arrival of Santa, and that was great. Well attended, a lot of people, great stage, and yeah, it was fantastic. And secondly, I want to congratulate Samir Patel. When is the party? Okay.
Let's not be modest. Yeah, everything went really well. All three of us were there at the tree lighting. I thought you guys had more people than I've seen in a long time, right?
Yes.
I was really surprised. And there was plenty of hot chocolate because I did bring up people I had said last year they ran out.
Oh,
So everything went really well.
that's where you were, and I couldn't track you down.
Jose?
Are we on the Parks and Recreation Commission report?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would like to report that I have attended the Veterans Days ceremony at City Hall on November 11th. Madam Chair Diana and
Pat?
our colleague Pat were there. There was a big crowd in attendance, and our councilman Mark Polido gave individual recognition to all military veterans that were present. That was very heartwarming. In closing, I would like to wish all our television viewers and everyone in this room Merry Christmas and have a safe and happy holidays.
Alex? Well, before we close, we do have the Sleigh Day at CCPA this Saturday. I am looking forward to it, so I hope everybody does attend. And actually, let's go have a good time. It's Saturday. Tomorrow's Friday. It's at the Senior Center. You're not going. You didn't get a ticket. And it sold out. It sold out in a couple of hours, didn't it? Just like 2 hours. I barely got a ticket myself. Oh, I'm not taking you. So thank you very much, and I plan to see you guys all there.